bananas. So we're gonna do that there. And then half a cup of the vegetable oil. I'm doing the recipe written as is, so I'm not making any substitutions today, but I have half a cup of vegetable oil ready, or canola oil actually is what I have, not vegetable. And then this is where you might want to tweak in the future. It does call for a whole cup of brown sugar, but I don't think that goes in there first. Let me double check that one. It should be, no, it is the sugar. So it's a whole cup of brown sugar. So that's where it's a little bit of a sticking point. So there's that. And then we're gonna do, let me make sure you get these right, the eggs and vanilla. So I have 2 eggs ready to go, just dump that in. And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And I'm gonna show you something after I get this vanilla in I'm really excited about. It's in the works, so I'll let you see what I have going on here. Just 1 teaspoon in first. And then I have to ask, has anybody made their own vanilla? Anybody done that? No, yes. I'm making my own vanilla because it's so expensive and I just love vanilla so much that I use it a lot. So I'm just going to show you how it's going. They say to leave this in the jar for 1 to 2 months. It's a whole package of vanilla beans. I think I got the Madagascar kind on Amazon. And then a cup of vodka. And you just leave it in a jar for like a month or 2 and shake it up once in a while. So this is almost ready to go, it looks like. So I'm going to give it, I'll probably give it a couple more weeks because I like it pretty strong. That's just another little aside tip there. So that looks like it's going to be good. All right. Then I'm going to stir this together. If you have questions you want to put in the chat, that's fine too. I'll check that once in a while, or feel free to talk. We're a smaller class today, so it's no big deal.
About how many bananas would you say make that 2 cups?
That's a good question. It's about 5 medium sizes. And I have a little bit left over, which we'll use later. So, but that's about what it was.
Do you use overripe bananas or what?
I use as ripe as possible. So
Okay.
overripe, yeah. I mean, it's brown, and on the inside there's
Right.
a lot of brown too. Yeah. That gives it that natural sugar, that sweet taste. And if another thing I've done is if your bananas just won't ripen, we can talk about ways to ripen it quicker. There are ways you can do it. Sometimes I'll just add a few teaspoons of sugar just to help sweeten it up because the bananas I just know aren't going to be that sweet, rather than not make a banana bread if I want to make the banana bread. So, all right. So then we're going to do the dry ingredients. Now, something with the dry ingredients I've always encouraged, and they do in this recipe as well, is to measure the flour by weight. And so I did that, and half of the flour is an all-purpose, half of it is a white whole wheat that King Arthur makes. Very, very good flour, very light, doesn't have as nutty of a flavor as the whole wheat bread. So I really like that. You could make this with 100% white whole wheat. I've done that, but again, since I'm just sticking with the recipe as is today, I have half and half in here. You could even do 100% whole wheat if you want. It's just going to be a lot denser and a lot heavier, but it'll still taste really good. So, all right, so I've got the flours ready. And it was funny, when I measured it, I actually had the measuring cups ready to go, and I measured the cup, and it weighed enough on the first round. The next cup I made, I had to add a lot more. So to make the weight work, and weight is more important than the volume. So it just shows you how it is different when you weigh it on a scale. So it makes a difference. Okay, so we're gonna do the dry ingredients, which is the flour, baking soda, baking powder, and I'll be giving you the recipe, so don't worry about writing things down or anything. And there's some salt. It's all in here.
What kind of scale do you use?
I have this one. I think it was bought on Amazon for like 10 bucks. They just look like this. They're very thin. We used to have one that had more of a platform on it, so it had a space underneath. I didn't like it because it was harder to clean, so I got a real sleek one. And it's very, very light. I just stick it on the side in the drawer. The brand is, Etek City, ETEKCITY. And it does all different grams, ounces, milliliters, pounds, all sorts of measurements. So. And then there's cinnamon here. Did I already put it in? No, right here. Just calls for a teaspoon. Normally I'd add a lot more. I really like cinnamon. It's another one. And you can add, this is where you can have fun and add whatever other spices you might want to put in here to make it your own. So, and then I'm going to go ahead and stir this up. Oops, that was a, that's a back in there. A little bit of a mess there. All right. That's because I have my bigger wooden spoon. I should have saved my smaller one for this bowl. All right. Okay, then we're gonna add, I think dry to wet is what it will probably say. Let's see. Wait, mix flour beta. And it doesn't really, we're just gonna do it that way. I'm not gonna take time to really find out. All you gotta do is get it in there mixed. So it's thoroughly mixed. You don't have to be real, you know, overly mixed. Just get all those, that flour incorporated. And I didn't put the mix-ins yet. A lot of times you can put them in with the dry ingredients. The reasoning today is I'm going to make each mini loaf different. So you can get a different flavor for each loaf. Because I have some that like nuts, some that don't, some that like chocolate chips. Always have to have a chocolate chip loaf. And some, you know, maybe just a plain one. So I'll put a plain one in there as well, maybe with some slices of banana on top. So I'll show you all that. So you want to stir slowly because otherwise the flour could fly all over the place like you just saw. Let me get this going. And get to the bottom of that bowl because there's always going to be some flour that's not incorporating very well. So make sure you kind of get to the bottom. All right, looking good there. Okay, so I've got my pans ready. These are little mini loaf pans. This came in a packet of 4. I really like USA Pan brand. They seem to hold up really well, and I like the color. They're not dark, and it's a nice medium gray tone, so it bakes better. The darker pans will bake the outside of the breads first because that's where all the heat is. So I like the medium tone silver. It's the best. And it's just, I just had good luck with them. They say they're nonstick, and they really pretty much are nonstick, but I always grease my pans. I can't not do it. So I usually use coconut oil because it's a very mild or no taste, and it's good for your skin anyway. So it's kind of not as messy as like using a butter or something, and it's healthier than a butter. So that's what I did all 4. So I'm gonna move these aside here. And the way you can make each loaf different, you kind of gotta get a feel or kind of guess how much each pan will hold or loaf pan you will hold or how big you want to make them. I'll make them a little smaller today, so hopefully they'll bake through because this can take, you know, an hour. Some banana breads can take an hour. So I'm going to put about a cup of batter into each loaf, but I'm going to